Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you week 4 in my memory planner. I'm working in a Heidi Swap memory planner, and that is days 17 through 23. So I'm going to ask you to be patient with me because you will be learning as I learn. This is only week 4, and for full weeks, it's really only week 3 of my doing this. This is all new to me. So some of the things that I do will not be most, like for example, this. I am creating a banner here. Um, it is not done perfectly the first time, but I'm learning as I go. So you'll see my mistakes and you'll be able to learn from my mistakes. So what I thought here was that I was going to do a flip up of the banners. One is my daughter competing at one swim meet here in Richmond, and the other is my son competing in a swim meet in Blacksburg, Virginia, at Virginia Tech. And what I didn't plan for is I am working on glossy photo paper. And so when you use a bone folder, you basically distress the edge. So that's the first thing I didn't plan for. The second thing I didn't plan for is if you look at the photo of my son, so the idea was that they were going to go, I was literally going to fold them and they were going to go create a flip up. I had nowhere to anchor it. His head was going to get folded in half. And so I had to go to plan B, which was then cut each of the photos separately and then glue them back to back. And I'm going to notch them. And this is where I learn problem number 2, that my son's head does not allow me room in order to create the flip up. Can you see? So if the picture stays where it was, also the picture was going to be, so he would have been standing on his head and she would have been swimming on her head as well. So either way, plan B was not going to work. So then I decide, well, I want to leave one picture down on the page and then the other picture to flip up, which would then give me somewhere to write. So I'm going to pull them apart, and thank goodness I did not use my double-sided adhesive. I just used my ThermoWeb dot and roller, and I'm using an adhesive remover to get the adhesive off. So if you are looking for one, ThermoWeb has a great one. It doesn't work so well on matte photo paper, but it does work better on glossy photo paper and also on cardstock. So my solution, I'm going to just get thin white cardstock, and I'm literally going to anchor my photos to this thin white cardstock. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about the bulk in my pages, so I'm trying to be mindful of layers of things and minimize layers. I normally like to print on, I use Red River matte photo paper, polar matte. However, that is a whole lot thicker, so I am using glossy, I think it's just Canon or Epson. It's the print paper, glossy paper that you can get with the Epson refill for the PictureMate that I use. So I'm using Epson glossy paper, which is a whole lot thinner, but I'm not used to printing on that. So it's there's going to be a learning curve to this as well. So there is the flip up, works a whole lot better, right? And then I can journal on the top. So I'm going to go through the same process with my daughter, which I'm going to skip over for you because otherwise this is a very long video. So there is the notching and her finished flip up. So something else that I have learned is that in our schedule, and everybody's may be different, but most weeks, Sundays are a lazy day. And so I was okay with my Saturday pictures overlapping into my Sunday box. I am very type A, and so it took a while for me to be okay with that. So what I was doing when I was talking was we have a shaved ice place that we like to go to. It's called Vampire Penguin, and that was something from the menu that has the actual logo, so I wanted to include that, so I hole punched that. So I get my pictures all situated, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to stamp in the month and the date. So that is a Carrie Bradford stamp with the month. It's got all the days as well. And then I will go ahead and use some old Studio Calico see-through stickers that match the color palette that I'm working with. So I have to thank those of you who voted over on Insta Stories. I am working basically with, it's this sort of blue jeans blue. It's kind of a olivey green, greeny brown, a browny tanny color. Its old paper is the distress ink, and then that peachy color as well. And I really love the color palette. It came together really well. So those are Ellie Studios stamps that I'm going to stamp the date with. And again, I'm not going to bore you with that, just cleaning off each stamp. And now I want to create a vellum pocket for some interactive memorabilia. So these are nested dies from Ellie's Studio that I'm using in some really cool, a new cool ThermoWeb product. So stay tuned for that. That is anchoring down my die, and it's anchoring it down super, super well. And then I'm going to, I want this little tag. What do you want to call that? A protector? The whole reinforcer. And so I like the way that the blue really pulls out the blue in the colors of the collection. It's indigo and ivy from Pink Paisley. So now the pocket itself is going to be vellum, and I like that in this memory planner because that way you can see that there are things in there. And so what I have nested in there is the key tag that came from the dealership of the new car that we just got. So I highly recommend these double-sided tapes from ThermoWeb. They're actually Gina K. You have, this is the 1/8 inch. There's also a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. I really enjoy using them for, particularly for my memory planner, because they're lightweight and they are rippable. So what I mean by that is I, I I'm always looking for my scissors. You can see my fingers doing the scissor action, and that's me looking for my scissors. And so it's one more thing to look for, or one more time to look for the scissors. And so just being able to tear it is super helpful. I also like that it's a super strong adhesive, but it's super lightweight. I like red line, but I think that red line is a whole lot thicker, and with as much bulk as I'm going to have, I want to minimize my layers as much as I can. So I'll link you to those down below. So you can see I put that little tag in there, and I know I need to have somewhere to journal as well, because I know that the tag is going to go all the way across once I have that picture of the new car in there. So I need to find something else there. So these end up being the first elements that I adhere down to the page, and they are going to span all the way across, which is fine, perfectly fine with that. Next, I am working with, that is a photo of my son's schedule. So Tuesday was the first day back to class at Virginia Tech, and so I want to include his schedule and then write a little bit about it. My 1/4 inch tape would have worked perfectly fine there, but I go with the 1/8 because I don't want there to be a potential sticky residue. And so this just allows me to have that flip up so that I can journal underneath. So what I'm trying to figure out here is the placement of the day before, Monday, and then the day after, the 2 days that I've already got down there. I thought that I might use that tab to create the tab hole for that flip up of the schedule, but it's too big and it would overlap the photo. So I was able to find this smaller one in the coordinating indigo and ivy embellishments that go with the pattern paper that I have chosen to use, or you have helped me choose to use. And it's upside down. The wording is upside down in order to get the tab in the right place, but that's okay. I can easily do something about that. While I was looking for that, I also found that blue flower that just adds a little bit of fun to the layout. So this is a super old crepe paper. I want to say it's Maggie Holmes pocket, but it looks a lot like some of the ones that Heidi has had in her kits. So I am going to use that to house some journaling. And I decided to back the photo. So that is a photo of the new TV series that we started watching called Hannah. because I wanted to, I like the way that the brown softens the black. It's not this eyesore against all of the other colors that are in the page. And it also pulls more of my coordinating colors into the layout. I really initially had wanted that tag pullout to be next to the January, but then you weren't going to see. And so you can see where I drew, drawing my hand up and down. Doing it the way that I have, I kind of create this center line down the whole center of the page, which is why I then put that puzzle picture or Thursday's picture where it is. So I've pretty much got everything all set up over on the left-hand side of the page. Now I want to work on the other side of the page, and I want to get all of my elements, my photos lined up before I figure out the rest. To me, lining up all of the photos, the photo placement, then you can put all of the, it's like your page, right? You get the main structure of your scrapbook page, and then you put in the embellishments. So that is what I have done here. So that is a sticker from, again, super old Maggie Holmes, and it's part of what I'm loving about this project is not only am I recording daily memories or snippets of our daily life, but I am also being able to use up some stash. The placement of this pretty much also has a center line down between the two photos, the banner photo flip-ups, and then the shoes and the tag there. So that is from the printable. If you are in the Stop the Blur class, that is, it says something I love no matter what anyone else thinks. And my answer for that is barefoot shoes. They are not the, shall I say, trendiest or the prettiest shoes, but they are definitely the most comfortable shoes and the best for your feet. So yes, I am a physical therapist, and yes, I'm mindful of those things. So now I have all of the main structure of my page. Now it's just to go in and fine tune and add the embellishments and the stamping and the journaling. I will apologize in advance that the video is going to end a little bit early before I get all of my stamping done. But some of the stamping is because I then have room after I have journaled and want to fill in those spaces there. I am also not going to journal on camera because I don't pre-write things. I just write and let the free flow flow. But sometimes there's a lot of hesitation and that takes some time. So I want to be mindful of your time as you're watching as well. So I will tell you that that little banner sticker that's up by January will get removed, and I'm just going to put in some see-through old studio calico. I think I've mentioned that already. And that is pretty much at this point the only thing that's going to look different. So I found these tags that are from a Heidi Swap. I can't remember which collection it is, but that's the only thing I end up using from there, and I'm going to journal on the back of that. So I've now pulled out a bunch of stamps. I have 2 paper person stamp sets, 3 maybe, and a stamp set from Ellie's Studio. I do not end up using that Ellie's Studio stamp set, however. I'm going to use a label stamp and a weekend something else, other stamp sets from Ellie's Studio, but unfortunately my battery died and it did not capture all of that. So this says watching, and that is from Paper Person, and I'm stamping that in, that is a Pink Fresh ink, and that one is called Peach Fuzz, which is perfect because doesn't it look like Peach Fuzz? And then I'm going to off stamp this TV that is also from Paper Person, but from a prior collection. I didn't quite get the overlapped look that I wanted, but I'll get there. So I make a mistake, but I can live with that. So now this is another Paper Person stamp set, and I am going to stamp class schedule underneath because that's what it is, his class schedule. And then I will journal underneath that. I still have to find something that will cover up the writing that is the wrong way on that flip up tab, but that's super easy to do. You could type something super simple. What I ended up doing was I used a Ellie's Studio stamp that says note inside and just stamped over it. You can still kind of read the upside down favorite, but I'm not worried by that. So now I have, this is where I get distracted. I'm thinking about what I want to do. I'm looking for some letters. I thought maybe I would use letters that say college memories. You can see I'm trying to match things, but I decide that I don't like that. So I want to fill in what something that I love is, and that is barefoot shoes. I can't make barefoot shoes work in there, but I can make barefoot and then handwrite shoes myself, which I am not afraid to do. Um, so that is going to fill in that box there, and then I will journal a little bit about that to the right of the photo on the other side there. I'm also going to put the leftover. So I try and you can see I cut the label that went on the vellum tag. I also am going to use a label right there to cover this mistake here. And it's only the left half part of the label. And so I try and integrate what's left over. So you can see those things being nested on my trimmer, the rolling part of the trimmer, and incorporate it into the other page so that it is a way of tying things together. So something that is on the left-hand page, I will try and tie into something on the right-hand page over there. So I didn't like the way that that stamped, and then I over stamped it and it just looked even worse. And in part that was because I forgot to pull my chipboard over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to cover that up with this. Folded flap, but then I realized I don't need the folded flap. I literally just want it to say college memories. So I'm going to cut that in half and then stick that down there. Again, especially when you're working by the binding of the book, you need to be careful of the thickness of things, because otherwise you're going to find your pages are going to split over time. As it is, I think I'm going to have to find some really thick tape to hold that center page down. So showing you all the flip ups, there's also a little video of that over on Reels in Instagram. Enjoy the close-ups. If you have any questions about anything that I've done, please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks for stopping in today. And if you have any recommendations too about memory keeping, planning, I would love to hear that. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.